I'm Terry, and today I'm going to be taking you behind the future.
Welcome to Behind the Future. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Kaya. Hi, Kaya.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Good.
How are you?
Good. I'm very good. I'm really good. Thank you for asking. Good. Tell us a bit about yourself.
I am a Year 12 student studying at Maidstone Grammar School for Girls. I take media, dance and drama.
Fantastic. Good. Well, let's meet our guest, shall we? Terry, lovely to see you.
Lovely to see you as always.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, Terry.
Yeah, I'm Terry, and I'm founder of Marqeting, which is a PPC and performance marketing specialist agency.
Perfect. Very exciting. Well, over to Kaya for our first question.
My first question is, how long have you been in digital tech for?
You asked this before we jumped on the camera, and I think I worked out professionally. It's been about 8 years now, so I think I'm in either in my 8th year or I've been doing it for 8 years. But before that, I kind of dabbled a little bit. I know we'll talk a little bit about that as well, but I kind of tried to get involved with social and the website before I actually made the jump.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like we've got a story to unpick, haven't we?
Yeah.
Where should we go? Should we start back at the beginning?
We can, the whole journey, we can go through if you like.
We won't go back to nappies. That's too far. That's too far.
Okay.
But what happened? Did you do your A-levels?
Yeah, sure. So I went to school, but didn't do A-levels actually. I think it was about year 10 or year 11, and I just hated school when I was there at the time. I just wanted to leave. I didn't really know what I wanted to do anyway, but I was like, I just don't want to get out of the school environment. So I ended up actually going to college and studying music. I know, completely random. But weirdly, like even to this day, when I'm reviewing some content or video content, I still pick up on like timing and stuff I learned back then. So weirdly, even though I don't use that directly in what I do actually apply some of the skills that I learned while I was there. And then I wasn't really sure. I didn't really have a plan. I don't even remember speaking to a careers person when I was at school. And then I kind of trained as a chef. So that was my first proper career, I guess, an in-house chef. I know, yeah. So I trained as a chef. Did that for a couple of years, worked in some bars, and I was like, I can't be, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning, finishing at 2 o'clock in the morning, and it was just painful.
Are you still a cook at home though?
When my wife will let me, or should I say when I give my wife a break from cooking. Yeah, I don't want to say when she lets me. It's more like when I do it. But yeah.
What's your best dish?
Oh, I'm more of a baker actually.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I feel like actually we've had some of your baked goods here before.
I think I have brought some cakes in before.
Yeah.
I do like a good cake.
Oh, next time you're on the podcast, I think we'd quite like some, please.
I'll bring some in. Carrot cake is my specialty.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, there you go. So you're a chef.
Chef, yes. Worked in some bars, and then I was like, I've got to get a proper career. And then I saw this opportunity for working with disadvantaged students. So people who secondary school age students who just couldn't really cope in a normal school environment. Maybe they're young offenders or young mums or broken families, whatever it is, they just couldn't really cope in the normal traditional mainstream education. And it just kind of pulled me in a little bit. So I went for an interview, and I was quite young. I think I was like 20, 21 at the time. And got a job. And then that started my career, which was the one before I got into now, in education. So I worked with secondary age school students, went and moved into a secondary school, so just around the corner from your old school, St Simon's Stock. First started as a TA and then got into careers guidance, so advising students on what they should be doing next, which is weird because I don't remember any that I got. Trying to apply that to my kids now is also very difficult. And yeah, I kind of got to a point where I'd always been interested in tech, and games, I guess, is my big passion. Hopefully I'm not ruining another question. After about 8-9 years in that profession, I was like, I really want to do something creative. This is my real passion, and I've volunteered for charities, a gaming charity. I'd taken school trips to gaming events, so it was always there. But I didn't really know how to get there, how I could transition from one career to the next. And then an opportunity did come up, which started off my marketing role.
Amazing. So I think this is such a poignant story, because I think there's so much pressure on young people to, what do you want to do? You got to know now. But actually, you've shown us there 3 different walks of life that equally could have all been the walk of life. It was fine. Like, you could have been a chef. Like, it's just not very sociable hours. Like, it's all fine. But it just shows that you can move, which I think is really good, to try and lighten that load of, don't worry if you don't know. It works out.
I think the question that I hated when I was at school and when I worked in a school was, what do you want to be when you grow up? Because I'm wearing some Space Invaders socks, so I hopefully will never grow up in that traditional sense. But also, I feel like people think that that's like an absolute, that's like the end of something. So what do you want to do? I want to be this, and then that's it. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a dancer, I want to be whatever it is that you want to be, and then that's it. Rather than thinking about, what do you want to do next? So what's your next step? Because then that's just one step in the journey. I think that's a better way of looking at it, and maybe takes a bit of pressure off people, because it doesn't really matter what that next step is, because you don't know even if you're not sure what the next thing is after that, and you're going in the right direction.
Yeah, no, definitely. Really nice advice. Yeah. So you're working in the school, but you get the opportunity to move into tech. How does that come about?
So I've been volunteering at a gaming charity for, I think, about 10 years now. Really cool people. Special Effect. I'll just name drop them. And I was doing some posts. I was much more active on LinkedIn then than I am now. And I will take your advice that you gave me earlier. I will definitely become a bit more active. And yeah, this guy messaged me out for blue on LinkedIn, was like, I've seen your profile. I know you're local. I really like that you're interested and passionate about the industry, and you're obviously interested in tech. It'd be great to have a meeting, because I kind of need a bit of support moving forwards. And it was for a small agency, a 3D agency, just around the corner from here. And then he had a kid, so it went a bit quiet. And weirdly, the following year, I bumped into him at Aspiration Digital, one of your lovely events. I brought about 20 students across, and he was there with a stand. So I just went over and just had a catch up with him. And he was asking me, because I did careers, some advice on finding an apprentice provider for somebody that he wanted to recruit and join his company. And without making this a super long story, a couple of months later, I'd found a new provider. The apprentice had found a new job in that time. And I basically said that I would do the job, because it was a really cool tech company that I was really interested in. And at the time, I was really interested in games, and it was a really good kind of pathway around that if I wanted to push on into the gaming industry as a job.
So roughly what age are you at this point?
So this would be 30, 31.
Yeah. So you went and then did an apprenticeship.
Did an apprenticeship, yeah.
Which again, I think people don't realise that you can do it whenever you want.
Yeah, I think that there was... apprenticeships have been around for a long time, but people think, it's your trade skill jobs and you have to be 16 to 19. And if you're older, you can't do it. But they changed some of the rules a little while ago, and you can do it at any age as long as it's something different, which is great, because it gives you the opportunity to be able to do something different. And
there's actually a lot of funding around apprenticeships, because we've got a few of our team doing apprenticeships at the moment, and we've got funding to support us to be able to do that. So again, it's just that really nice thing to know that as you get older, you can reskill, you can add skills, you can keep learning as long as you want to keep learning, but not necessarily having to sit in a school environment to do so.
Yeah.
So you suddenly get the job.
Do get the job, yeah. And like I said, I wasn't really sure what path I was going to take on next, but I ended up staying there for 6 years, because it was great people, great company. I still work with Dan, the owner, now. And it was just a really cool opportunity for me to learn on the job, to be doing client work from a couple of months in, getting skills right from day one. It was really good experience for me.
And what kind of work were you doing?
So from the apprenticeship perspective, you do a bit of everything, a bit of SEO, a little bit of coding, everything kind of from a digital marketing perspective. So my mum was a higher apprenticeship in digital marketing, but it kind of covered it every bit a little bit, a bit of content, a bit of social, a bit of that. But I specialised in PPC, specialised in paid. And the initial plan was for me to grow the marketing of the business internally, so be an in-house marketer. And then probably about a year in, so I hadn't finished my apprenticeship, about 6 months left of my apprenticeship, then we realised that the cool content that we were creating at Dirty, we'd give it to them and then they would maybe put it on their website or put it on their YouTube channel, and then that would be about it, and they weren't really doing anything with it. So I quickly ended up getting around and doing PPC work and setting up campaigns and helping manage social channels for these businesses that we were working with as well. So, and that kind of grew and grew. So we ended up doing more external, client side work rather than in-house.
Brilliant. And you were there for 6 years before you eventually ended up coming to work with us at Reflect Digital.
Did, yes. It was fantastic. I mean, like I said, I'd met you before. I think we were trying to figure out when it was, maybe 8 or 9 years ago.
Yeah, it's
something
about
like that. And yeah, it was a really great opportunity for me to be able to grow and be part of a bigger team, because when you're in a small agency, it's great. And I was having a chat with one of my network friends the other day, actually. It's great when you're the expert in your bubble, but it kind of limits on your growth and being able to grow and expand. And then, coming here was amazing for me, because you get to speak with, Gary, yourself, I mean, the wider team as well. It wasn't just paid. People who are real experts in what they do, and have lots of different experiences, working with the marketing team, speaking with PR, people who do just that role and specialize in that role. So it definitely opened my eyes up even more than it was before around the potential in growing and what you've achieved here at Reflect. So
cool. It's very kind things to say.
No.
But then you flew the nest, as we end up having a lot of people do, and started your own thing, which is incredible.
Yeah, it was kind of it was kind of on the sideline for a bit, but I didn't really know what I wanted to do with freelancing as a whole. And it is a bit scary setting up your own business and doing that only, as you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of wanted to, it was absolutely nothing to do with here. And I have spoken to you about that. I absolutely loved working here and the people. Shout out to Amy.
I'll pay you later.
But it was kind of like a bit of a balancing where I've got young kids and older kids at home. I just wanted to be able to do a bit more there. I wanted to support my wife in getting back into doing the things that she wanted to do, which is very difficult when you're kind of juggling kids and housework and all that kind of stuff. So it was just more like a life choice for me.
Yeah.
In January, I went full-time, set up my business Marqeting with a Q, which at the time I thought was really cool, but now they're like, what? You start marketing with a Q? And I'm like, no. I have to explain that a little bit. But yeah, it's been really good for the first few months.
It's good. It's really good.
Thank you.
So there's loads to unpick and ask questions about. Where do we want to start? Like, that's a quick whistle stop.
Yeah, probably I think the apprenticeship is something really interesting. So I know, obviously, it's been talked about, it's becoming more normalised now. Like, I know a lot of people, that is the route they want to go down. But then again, no one really, because we're so young, we don't know what it is. So as someone that wants to get into it, what would you say about it? Like, is there anything that I need to know? Is there anyone that students need to know about it?
I think that when I worked at a school, and being at a grammar school as well, when I went to school, when I was of school age, there used to be like this golden route, is what people would call it, right? Where, you do GCSEs, do A-levels, go to university, get a postgraduate job, nice and easy, nice and straightforward, no problems whatsoever. I think now it's becoming more difficult, especially in London. Post-grad unemployment is really high at the moment. And the reason is that people don't gain the real life experiences, of doing a job beyond a course. That's not to say and to put down at university, don't go to university. But I think that people see apprenticeships as the lesser, people that if you can't go to university, go and do an apprenticeship, and it shouldn't be looked at in that way whatsoever. Because an apprenticeship, you can become maybe not a doctor, but you can become, an accountant. You can do some medicine apprenticeships now as well. So they're expanding to do lots and lots of really cool, what people think you would only be able to do by going to university. But you can get a master's level apprenticeship now. So it's not restricted to people who have lower grades. I think it's a different way of approaching what you want to do. So for me, I've always been a better learner, a kinesthetic learner. So just learning by doing. When I was trained to do careers advice, I did a similar sort of thing. So I did a degree level qualification there, level 6. So yes, moving into an apprenticeship is that, it's different depending on what apprenticeships you do. Sometimes you might do 1 day a week. I had a tutor come to me and we would do one-to-one tutoring, which was really good. Sometimes you might do a day or a week in college once a month. But the rest of it, you're doing the job. Yeah, so you might be learning and being, brought up to speed with what the business does and all the processes and stuff, but you'll be doing a job nearly from day one. So if you enjoy doing more and you want to be doing the job rather than learning about the potential of what things could be doing, then it's a really good way of not just becoming qualified, but getting paid and having a probable job at the end of that as well.
Yeah, because the chances are people don't want to let you go at that point because they've spent 2 years normally, is it, for an apprenticeship? Or? Yeah. They've spent 2 years with you in their business. They've watched you grow. And actually, when you take on someone more junior, after 2 years, you are really starting to see the best of them and they're really flourishing in their role because it takes time to get to know everything. So yeah, you're not always guaranteed a role. And actually there's lots of big apprenticeship schemes like at the likes of Google and Amazon. And there you're much less likely probably to get a role because they might have 50, 60 and then they're going to keep 2 or 3. But still, you've then got that experience to put on your CV. I think some of the apprenticeships are really competitive. How did it work? Because you basically just had to find a company that had...
Yeah, mine. I was thinking about this the other day. I haven't actually had a classic interview process, like even for here, because it was uni kind of needed somebody for like 20 years. So I've been very lucky. But yeah, it's very competitive, and I think that people get very quickly put down by sending 10, 20, 30 CVs and not even getting a response in some cases. So I think my only advice there would be try to be unique. Yes, it's very easy to follow a template and, get ChatGPT to help you write your CV and, get the best practices. But if you can write your CV as much as yourself and put as much of yourself into that, then I think that gives you the best chance of someone going, oh, this is different. It's not the same sort of thing. I'm flicking through. This is something different. This one's unique. I want to learn a bit more, and getting them to actually read the CV.
And you said you've been lucky. I challenge that actually it's, you might not have realised, but you were creating your own luck because you were networking, you were meeting people. I mean, none of that just happened because you just woke up one day. It's all part of it. But I guess how would you unpack some of that and what lessons are there in there that the audience could take away?
I think LinkedIn is very much undervalued by the younger generation. And I know that you've spoken about it lots. You've had speakers come and speak at Aspiration Digital, I know, in the past about it. And people just think it's this professional network, and if you just want to sell stuff and somebody, then that's how you meet. But it is definitely more a professional network of meeting people. And it just gives you that first bit of exposure to somebody who's a friend of a friend, or, who's a business partner or a business partner. So like for my role, getting into marketing was me posting some content on LinkedIn and somebody going, that's interesting, let me reach out to them. And then I guess what may have given me a little bit of a head start here was I'd met you before and we'd spoken before, and Dan very well. So him having the faith in me, I guess, transferred that a little bit over to you for me starting here.
Staring at a blank screen trying to figure out what happens after school or college, university, apprenticeships, T-levels, it's a lot to take in. But what if you could speak directly to the people who are actually hiring? NAS Events brings you events like the National Apprenticeship Show, London School and College Leavers Show, and many more. They run the UK's top career events designed specifically for students aged 15 and up. These aren't just your boring careers fairs, we're talking interactive hands-on experiences where you can meet the country's biggest employers and top universities face to face. Whether you're looking for an entry-level role, a degree apprenticeship, or a pathway into higher education, this is a regional show near you. From London and Bristol to Scotland and Newcastle. The best part, it's completely free to attend. Don't just scroll through job descriptions, come and try out new skills, get expert advice, and find career paths that actually fit you. Ready to take the next step? Head over to nasevents.co.uk to find the nearest event and register for your free place today.
But it just shows the power of network, doesn't it? And actually at that point, we'd not seen each other regularly or anything like that. We'd kind of seen you at the Aspiration Digital. We'd been at that other event together. Popped up every now and then. We'd bump into each other because as you get to know people in an industry, you do, especially the digital industry, there's lots of different meetups and things that go on. So you do bump into people, but you just stay friendly because you just never know when an opportunity might arise and the stars align, as it were.
Yeah, feels great. I can't appreciate enough the opportunity here. It was really good for me to learning, and I think above everything, and I'll take this moving forward, and I hope you appreciate this, and this isn't, you can pay me later, but I have no jokes here, was kind of like quieting that imposter syndrome a little bit from coming from a small agency into a big agency, and me realizing I do kind of know my stuff enough for me to give the constant confidence and go and start my own business. So,
and confidence is a huge thing, isn't it? Like it's all well and good if you can do this thing, but you got to believe you can do the thing to especially to step out on your own. It's and we've had many a podcast guests talk about confidence and imposter syndrome, and it still shows up. I was at an event this week and I suddenly realised like the calibre of people in the audience, and I was like, oh, okay, they're about to listen to me talk. Let's hope I know what I'm talking about. But I was really confident in what I was talking about. So, and I was like, actually, if they like it, great. If they don't, maybe it wasn't the right talk for them, but I'm confident in what I'm talking about. But it takes years to get to that level of feeling like that. But it's also practice and honing those skills.
It doesn't go away completely either.
No.
Like you said.
It never goes away. Never goes away. You're still, and like those little nervous moments and things like that. That's all part of being human. And that's one of the things that makes us so different to AI is that we do feel things and we've got that gut reaction to things. Like it's, AI doesn't have a gut. It doesn't know. We know as humans, and we've got those kind of that feeling and that relationship building.
It's not taking over everything yet.
No, not yet. No, there's no robots here today. I do have a few robots at home now.
Do you?
Yeah. For doing the hoovering.
I want to get one of those.
Oh, you need it.
Yeah,
you need it in your life. We named ours Monica. After Monica and
That's
Friends.
a great name.
Yeah, so she's Monica. So yeah, we talk about her all the time. Have you sent Monica out? She's lazy sometimes though. She runs out of battery and has to go and charge, and you're like, you haven't finished your job, Monica, come back out. But yeah, there you go. We are going to have robots everywhere at some point, but I still think the human piece will be really important.
Yeah, I think that is even now. So my day to day, yes, AI can help speed up and make things more efficient and really good for getting ideas. But definitely from like a paid ads perspective, I think that human element is still going to be important, at least in the next few years. I don't see that ever really being able to pick out real insights on specific industries, on specific job objectives, because, you know, you go into a campaign and it gives you recommendations for adding broad matches and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, that's not going to help. That's not going to help. It's just, and that's still, AI doesn't really know what it's talking about quite yet.
Yeah. No, you're so right. And it's interesting because you started off by saying that you were kind of fed up with school, which is why you went to college, but then you went to working in a school. How was that transition?
How was that transition? I don't know, because I guess for me, it was firstly at the first role working with disadvantaged students, it was more feeling like I can try and help them and taking them through a course and getting them some sort of education, which they wouldn't have done before. And then working at St. Simon's Dock, I guess it was the same sort of thing where it wasn't me. It was a different perspective of the education system. I don't really know if there's an easier way of explaining that. But I enjoyed working with the kids. I enjoyed, being able to see them grow and bumping into some now, which is really weird. And them going, "Oh, Mr. May, you're really cool." Because I was young. When I started, like 21, 22, when I was out of school, so I was young. And
you always love the younger teachers, don't you? Because they feel a bit cooler, don't they?
Yeah.
But that's interesting, though, isn't it? Again, as an insight for the audience to think about, because if we'd asked you as 16-year-old, can you see yourself ever working in a school? I'm guessing the answer would have been absolutely not. No way. So it also shows that actually some of the doors that we think are closed aren't necessarily closed. We just don't know. Our perspectives will change as we move on. And to your point, that's why that question of what you're going to do when you're older is just a really ridiculous one in many ways, because it's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like probably something that I don't even know the words for right now.
One of the bits from when I studied careers education was happenstance, which was being prepared for things that you can't prepare for. So that's just, the opportunity that might come through, and just being in a position where you could do well if you got a phone call now and it was for a really cool client or really good apprenticeship, really cool job, would you be ready for it now? And the answer is probably no, but how can you prepare yourself to be ready for that? It's a bit of a weird mindset, I know. But that's definitely helped me in just whenever there's any sort of opportunity or challenge, it's thinking about, well, what do I do? What can I do? Just doing it as best as you can, because that's all you can do. Being super critical of yourself doesn't help you.
Yeah. It's a very entrepreneurial mindset, isn't it? It's that kind of...
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, like we'll sometimes get an opportunity in and the team look at me as if to say, we can't fit that in, we can't make that work. And I'm like, we absolutely can, and without breaking anyone's backs, I promise you, we can do this. But it's just that different way of like, I'm always willing to take a chance and take an opportunity and give it a go. But yeah, there's lots of people where no, not ready for that right now.
Yeah, you have a lot more experience running your business than I do. I'm still very much a youngster.
I was there.
Yeah,
I was there, and the thing is, you can't cheat experience. You can't. It's the one thing that you can't speed it up. Like, you could go and read more books. You could watch more podcasts, listen to more podcasts, whatever it is. You can do all those things, but it doesn't really give you that experience of being in it, having to make the decisions. And still 15 years in, like, new things happen all the time that I'm like, oh, okay, I haven't done that before. Haven't had to handle that before. Sometimes not the nicest things. So you're like, oh, here we go, curveball coming. The economy changing, things like that. It's but you just have to ride the waves.
Yeah, there's always going to be challenges.
Yeah.
For me, I'm just starting out, so they're very minor. Having to do my first tax return and working out, invoicing and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I can imagine definitely as you get bigger and bigger, and there's more big wins and achievements, but bigger challenges as well. So. But
there are also things that no one really teaches you. Like, you don't learn at school, how do I do a tax return? And it'd be quite handy if you did, because it's quite important to know. Because actually, in the kind of economy we're in now, there's people doing a lot more different jobs, which means that actually, if you are earning some of your own money that's not coming through PAYE and through a company, you need to know how to do a tax return, because sadly, that income needs to be taxed. It's the way the world works. But if you've not learnt about that, it's where you turn to YouTube, or you find your friendly accountant. I hope one of your friends at school becomes an accountant. It's quite funny though, actually. I don't know if this was the same for you, but all your friends do go off into different areas, and they do become very useful, more than just being friends, because you will have a friend that might be an accountant and a friend that becomes the lawyer, and you're like, I've got a legal question. And
yeah, well, I mean, on that, when I worked at Dirty, we had a kind of like local Kent networking thing as part of a Chamber of Commerce. One of them was an accountant who I just sent a message and said, because we got on quite well, I was like, would you just be able to just give me some advice or spare half an hour just to tell me what I can and can't do?
Yeah.
And he did. He was very nice about it. But again, that was networking. Otherwise, I would have probably had to have paid somebody, because I wouldn't have trusted myself to hit the submit button and not have made some mistake.
And that's the thing. So you've already started networking.
There you go.
You've already got your network, you just don't know. And actually, it's weird, like, even now, so I'm so many years, like 22 years or so out of school, I'll have people pop up. Like one of the team that works with us, Sarah, we used to go to secondary school together, and I didn't see her for years and years and years and years and years. And then we had an opportunity. She saw us market it on Facebook at the time. It was a few years ago now. Yeah, she's now our people director, and yeah, but it's weird that we went to school together, but it just happens. So actually using that network and watching where people go is quite, and I suppose that's one of the good things, that if you do go to university, you build that second layer of network, that if you go to an apprenticeship, it's more the company you're in.
Yeah, it's a different type of job, right? So it's a different pathway. So at university, I said earlier, I'm not saying don't go to university. It's just a different way. You know, you meet people who are doing or focusing on one thing. So you've got all these likes, and you can start your networking very, very early on. But it doesn't mean it's the best for everybody. I think there's a lot of opportunities for apprenticeship. You know, I found doing an apprenticeship really valuable. I mean, it's led to me start my own business 6 years after finishing it. So
It's worked out pretty well.
It's done pretty well, yeah.
Like, what was one bit of advice you would give your younger self, or is there anything that you would change about your past?
You know, I'm one of those people who feel like everything sort of, I don't want to, everything sort of happens for a reason. Right? I'm not one of those people who believes in fate completely, but I wouldn't say I would change things. Like randomly, I met my wife at her door when she was studying university degree, and that's like a chance thing, and that led me to working in a school, and then me doing some charity work stuff and connecting with Dan and working here and getting to where I am now. So I feel like every step of that is really important. I think if I was going to change or give myself some advice, it would be follow your passion earlier, I think, because games and tech and that side of the industry has always been a big part of my life. So I think that if I had learned or studied something a little bit earlier, then I may have been able to get to where I am now quicker, and therefore, be doing something different or have a bigger agency. I don't know. Not even sure what I want to be doing next yet. But I think that would be what I would suggest. I could have done a little bit better on my exams and that kind of stuff. But I think every part of that, from school to college to each job after that has still contributed to, in some way, either a skill or where I am now. So yeah, that's it. Don't be too scared about what the next step is, because it's on the journey.
It all happens for a reason,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I do. I'm on in the same camp.
Yeah.
Because also it just makes life a bit easier. When bad things happen, you're like, oh, I know something good's going to come soon. It has to. And it usually does. Like, we've had loads of people sit here on the sofa tell us stories of moments where they thought it'd all gone wrong in their career. And normally it's the turning point where something great's coming. It always bad things do happen, but that is life. So it's however you can make it easier to cope so that you can keep going, because you've got to keep going. So if you were to follow your passion, what would that be?
I've got two, so genuinely, I don't know, because they're so different. It's I can't find, there's a way I can blend them, but also kind of can't. I could, because it's media and storms, I could sort of blend them in a way and maybe do journalism with storms, so it sort of blends both. But that's the thing, I think I don't particularly know, because we were saying in school, it's very much you were taught this is content, and then when you leave, you're like, oh great, right, so now I've got the whole rest of the world to try and figure out what I'm doing. And that's why these things are so helpful for students, because none of us know actually truly what there is. Because you see, for example, media is such it's like an umbrella, there's so much underneath that you don't actually know about. That's why these are so helpful. So
we will see. I'm excited to see what happens. So the storm chasing stuff's exciting. We had a good chat about this over lunch. It's very good, very good. What so I suppose thinking of paid media, because actually I imagine lots of people have no idea. They're like, what is that? And what do I need to be good at paid media? Tell us a little bit about that.
So if you're scrolling through Instagram or TikTok, or you type something into Google, you use some sort of digital tool, WhatsApp has it now in some cases, any sort of app as well. Pretty much most apps have some sort of paid advertising within it as well. There's annoying videos that pop up, or there's annoying pop-ups that come up on the apps. It's a way of getting business services or products in front of people in a different way than they would have before. Sometimes they might be really competitive. You might have a new business that started up, like me, against a big agency who's been around. Don't worry, I'm not going to try and steal anybody from here. But if I tried to do that organically, so from SEO, organically, I would have no chance, or it would take me a very long time to get anywhere near and be appearing for similar searches that like a bigger agency or a bigger brand would be. So it gives you that opportunity to be able to push yourself towards specific either search terms on Google, or specific audiences and likes, or people who follow a specific channel or engage with specific content. So for specific products or services, it can be a really good way of finding new potential customers as a business. And
I guess the key thing is that they're paying for every click. So your job then is to optimize. Well, first of all, there's loads of parts of the job, isn't there? There's where are you going to place the ads in the first instance? Because, for example, if we were trying to target retired people, we are not going to pick up TikTok. That's not going to be where we're going to find them, is it? So you have to work out what's the right platform. Then it's what kind of ad. Then you got the creative side of it. What are we going to say in the ad?
That's where some media help can come into play, because it could be graphics, it could be video content, it could be photos, it could be pushing a really cool piece of content writing, so like a blog post or something. And yeah, there's lots of different channels and lots of different ways about it, and it really depends on what the objective is of that campaign, because for some people, a percentage of the budget that they're spending each month, it might just be, I just want as many eyes as possible. I just want to get brand awareness out there. We're a new brand, or we want to be reaching as many people as possible. Don't really care about objectives. Now, for any business, and every business, especially if they've got a much smaller budget, it's about leads, sales, getting contact details so they can try and sell to. But that whole funnel is really important for any size business.
Yeah. But then you've got the creative side, but you've also got a real data-driven side, because actually it comes down to statistics and numbers and maths of when you're testing different ad creatives against each other and you're trying to work out which one works best. That all comes back down to all the variables you might have been testing, which could be everything from time of day, type of device you're targeting. Like there's so much, and the audience skew and where you're going. Like it's a really, like if you're a creative that's got skills with numbers as well, it's like a real happy place, isn't it?
Yeah, for me, I worked at a 3D agency. I'm somewhat creative, but I'm not a designer at all. So that's not my skill set.
No, and so you don't have to be, because you then normally have got a creative person that is creating the ads for you.
And that's kind of, I guess, why I've pushed more. I've gone further down the performance marketing side. So I do a lot more analytical data, look at more beyond the clicks and the impressions and the conversions, and going, well, what can we do to change and improve that? What pages and content are it? How far down a page are they reading? What specific file downloads are they doing? And trying to get as much data as you can about how people are finding that brand, usually on their website, how people are landing on that website, how they're engaging with that content, and what we can adjust from a campaign on the PPC side to improve that or meet the objectives, whether that's signing up for a newsletter or purchasing. That was obviously the bigger one for e-commerce platforms.
Yeah.
Just a quick note from me. We'd love you to hit the subscribe button. This helps us more than you might realise when it comes to growing this podcast, ensuring we can bring you the best guests possible. Thank you. Back to the episode.
Does that sound interesting?
Yeah, because it's something, because it's more so, obviously, we're used to ads so much. Like, you're literally anything now. I think even like Netflix, like everything has got ads now.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting to look at the fact of, like, you're not just like looking at the advert for the advert. You're looking at, okay, if they're not, like, how can I get more people on this? What can we do? What do people enjoy? Like, it's loads about trends as well. specifically, which I think also is like really interesting. It's not, like I said, it's not just about the advert. There's so much that goes into it that you don't see at all, which I think is really, really interesting.
Definitely. Changes your awareness, doesn't it? Because actually, if you went away from today thinking more about ads, you'd start to pay a bit more attention to, I see why I saw that ad, and I can see why they might have targeted me with that. And all that's interesting what their call to action was, what they were trying to get me to do. And I always find it like whenever I go up to London and I'm on the tube, I always spend, because there's nothing else to do while you're waiting on the tube, I really pay attention to the ads on there, because I think that's it's an interesting space, because you've got a captive audience where, yes, some people will be headphones on and heading a book or whatever, but there are a lot of people that are just kind of gazing around waiting for their next stop. And it's interesting what people choose to say in that space and how they use that media opportunity. So
yeah, I think a lot of people in that situation, they're just taking that moment to not do anything, but just to process whatever they've been doing throughout the day, whether it's been a business meeting or coming to and from work, just to kind of de-stress and whatever. So yeah, it's a weird place, but also probably a good opportunity for some people to be pushing some content out there.
Very lucrative, I think. So and I think to your point earlier that at school you're just kind of learning all the content, I'd say probably one of my tips would be for young people is to start just being really aware that wherever you are, like these microphones, there's a business that makes these microphones. They have to work out how to make them. They manufacture them. They need to make sure they're good. There's probably different versions. There's probably cheaper ones and there might be more expensive ones. And then they have to work out who they're going to sell them to and how they're going to sell them and where they come out. And literally you could do that for everything. Anything you walk past. So you start to think, and then it's almost like, what bits of that interest me? Do I want to be a part of how this goes from being in the factory and wherever it is made to being used on someone's podcast, and who is the business person that buys it, or the podcast host that buys it, and how do we attract them? Or do I want to work out how we manufacture it and how we make it smaller or more agile or whatever it is? It's everything is a job, which makes it slightly overwhelming, but not when you start to break it down to go, what bits do I like?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's, I feel like it was slightly easier when we were younger because there weren't as many jobs, I don't think, or at least there wasn't as much access to find all of them.
Yeah, I think now there's definitely more specialists and more channels, than there was before. And Google itself, has changed, not just from a pay perspective, but from SEO perspective as well. Lots and lots have changed. And that will continue. They'll do a big algorithm change. AI overviews had a big mix up from the SEO perspective recently. But yeah, like you said, any product, you look around this room, you've got a mug and a pen and, whatever, then somebody here would have bought it. How did they find that product?
Yeah.
What influenced them in purchasing that product?
Who designed the product?
Yeah.
Who designed the sign and the
it's a really
even
cool
the
sign.
thing? I know it is, isn't it? It's quite bright if you look at it too much, though. But like someone had to think about, well, that might go on a wall, but it also might sit on a stand. We're gonna have to sell it with a stand. We're gonna have to sell it with the fixings to put it on a wall. Like just the minutiae of detail that goes into absolutely everything. That is somebody's job somewhere to make sure that that's thought about and done. Otherwise, it never ends up becoming a thing that we have. Is just it's exciting, but it's like what from what you've been learning at school can you apply into that and find the thing that's your thing that might be multiple things over time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess from an engagement perspective, and that's an interesting one. Data, I don't want to talk about maths because some people just go, no, I'm not interested.
We have lost half the podcast.
I know, sorry.
No.
But it is, I think, from PPC and data, I mean, even social media, like when I used to work at a school and talk to students and they go, I want to work in marketing, then it would usually fall into two categories, social media or content creation. And that was it, basically it. But marketing is so much broader than that. And there's a lot of technical from web dev and PPC, SEO, PR, content, social media management, social media paid some can be very specialized as well. So yeah, it's definitely a lot more variety.
Definitely.
A lot more choice.
And actually mentioning maths, like actually the amount of maths that you do end up using, but I think again, one of the problems with the content at school is the content isn't necessarily designed around the real world. So you end up, I mean, I always come back to Pythagoras and the...
I haven't used trigonometry in a while.
No, I haven't used any of that, but someone does.
Yeah.
And mainly maths teachers probably, but I'm sure there's some other jobs that do use it. But actually, knowing how to work out your tax return, to calculate things like that, knowing how to do percentage changes, all of those things. But imagining what job, for example, like in paid media, like making it more relevant to go, here's a bit of maths that we're going to learn today at school, and here's the job it links to and where you could find yourself doing that. Then suddenly you go, oh, I like that. And I like the sound of that job, or, oh, I hate that kind of job. So actually I'll steer clear of that. But at least I now know the relevance of it. I still don't know, like, I don't think anyone told me why we were learning trigonometry.
I'm sure it's important in some roles.
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure it is.
Sure it is. It's a bit little but everything. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think maths is important in a lot of marketing, from performance. You know, even if you're just going to be doing social media management, you need to know how many clicks and impressions, what type of engagement you've got to be able to create more of that content later on. But it doesn't mean you're going to be doing your A plus B equals C. You don't do that on a day-to-day. You just need to be able to read and kind of understand what the numbers are telling you.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Anything else before we let Terry get on with his day? Is there anything he's not told us that we wish we knew?
Just for people going, like for students specifically, again, going out from like sixth form or uni and things, like what are your top tips to give people, like just to get them started, just to have an idea, especially for people that don't know what they're doing? Because obviously when you went from teaching to then doing like digital tech is such a big difference. And obviously I know it's not always going to be a straight pathway, but it's quite daunting knowing that it's going to be quite all over the place.
Everyone is different, but I think I'll give you one, and it is LinkedIn, and I'll give you a few reasons for why it's LinkedIn. Okay, if LinkedIn want to pay me, go for it. But why you should join LinkedIn is, for me, it's given me the opportunity to even move into, giving me lots of pathways into getting into marketing in the first place. But my passion was gaming, and that content and posting about that content and posting about attending events and taking students on trips and volunteering and shoutcasting for esports stuff was my passion. I didn't do that because I was getting paid for it. I did that because I really enjoyed doing that. A little bit like your storm chasing, right? If you're posting that content regularly and frequently enough where people will go, oh, this person is writing this piece of content again, then yeah, you'll start building up your own natural network. But then also from an employer perspective, it doesn't matter what you're interested in, right? If you've got a real passion and you can show that over a long period of time, it's not just, I'm just putting some blogs about storm chasing to make myself interesting, then that shows that you've got dedication and that you're different and you're interesting. But you also have that, real interest in something that's there, rather than just pretending that you like stuff for the sake of it. So I think that's what I would suggest. Post some content. It doesn't matter if you get 1 like or 2 likes. It doesn't really matter. It's building up that kind of digital portfolio of you, so that people can find you later on.
Great advice.
Thank you.
What's the homework for the weekend?
Get on to LinkedIn.
Done.
Send a connection request.
Done. Yeah. Well, we've already had some offers today as friends. Like, I reckon you'll start straight away with 10 at least, and it'll just build from there. Terry, is there anything you haven't told us that you wish you had?
I think so. I think you've asked some very good questions. So
good.
Thank you very much.
Well done. Well done.
Very good job.
This is good to hear. We can come back again. Terry, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. It's been lovely to hear more about your story and to see what's coming next for you. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
People can find you on LinkedIn, I'm guessing.
Yeah, please do. Just Terry May.
And he said on camera that he's going to be posting more. So we can all call him out if he's not. We now know. So
I promise.
Yeah, we it's real now. It's happening. Yeah. We're your accountability partners, and we will be checking in. So, Kaya, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you.
I hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I have. And thank you to our wonderful audience. We look forward to seeing you on another episode of Behind the Future.
That concludes another brilliant episode of Behind the Future. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen back to other episodes on YouTube or your podcast platform of choice. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, as that will help us to grow this podcast, ensuring we can get the best guests on here for you to learn from. You can also follow us on socials, linked in the show notes for exclusive content. See you on the next episode.